Have you ever noticed how easy it is to look someone in the eyes, nod your head in agreement, and be entirely somewhere else? What if the very life you are desperately trying to manage is quietly slipping through your fingers, leaving you feeling empty and exhausted at the end of every day? If you have ever felt stuck on a treadmill of obligations, moving from one conversation to the next without actually feeling alive, this is for you. Stay until the end, because the final lesson may change the way you experience your own life forever. We live in a world where we are physically present but mentally absent. We sit across a table from someone we care about, hearing the sound of their voice, but our minds are miles away. We are already planning tomorrow. We are replaying yesterday's mistakes. We are mentally answering messages, solving problems that have not even happened yet, and rushing toward an invisible finish line. We have slowly, quietly, stopped living our lives and started merely managing them. We treat our precious days like a rigid checklist. Wake up, talk, work, eat, sleep, cross it off, move on to the next. Buddhist wisdom teaches that a deep layer of our suffering comes not from the heavy burdens we carry, but from our inability to simply be where our feet are. The untrained mind is a restless traveler. It constantly seeks the safety of a remembered past or the illusion of a controlled future. But life does not happen yesterday, and it does not happen tomorrow. It only happens right now, in the exact space you are standing. When we abandon the present moment to manage the future, we abandon our only opportunity to actually live. Imagine a man sitting in a small wooden boat on a beautiful, winding river. The sun is warm on his shoulders, the water is crystal clear, and the gentle sound of the current hums around him. But the man is completely unaware. He is hunched over in the dark hull, frantically bailing out a few drops of water, obsessively checking his map and worrying about a storm that might be miles away. He survives the journey, yes, but he never actually saw the river. He managed the boat flawlessly, but he completely missed the beauty of the ride. How often are you that man in the boat? You sit at dinner, but you are not really tasting the food. You walk outside, but you do not feel the wind against your skin. You listen to a friend speak, but you are only waiting for your turn to talk, or rushing to offer a solution so you can move on. You are surviving. You are successfully managing the schedule, the bills, the daily expectations. But the quiet, unrepeatable beauty of a lived experience is passing you by. Ask yourself, who were you really talking to today? Were you speaking to the person sitting right in front of you, or were you trapped in the endless noise inside your own head? What are you so afraid will happen if you put the mental checklist down for just one single minute? Pause, breathe. The next time someone speaks to you, do not plan your response. Do not try to fix their problem. Do not look at the clock. Just listen. Listen to the subtle tone of their voice. Look at the shifting expression on their face. Let the moment arrive without trying to control it. Because a life that is only managed will always feel heavy, rushed, and hollow. True freedom is not about getting every single thing done perfectly. It is about being fully awake for the doing. But why do we run so fast from the present moment? Why does simply sitting still and listening feel so profoundly uncomfortable? And this is where the next truth begins. Because beneath our endless rushing is a hidden fear we rarely want to face. 2. Why we treat life as a checklist to be managed. What if your desire to always be productive is actually a disguise for your fear of being still? Here is a truth that is difficult to face. The more tightly we try to manage our days, the less we actually feel them. We wake up every morning with an invisible list hovering in our minds. We measure our daily worth by how much we can cross off before the sun goes down. Work, chores, emails, obligations, and even our conversations are treated as tasks to be processed and completed. If a conversation takes too long, we feel a sudden spike of anxiety. If a day has no plans, we feel a strange, heavy guilt. We have convinced ourselves that staying busy means we are succeeding at life. We are emotionally exhausted, deeply drained, yet we keep running because slowing down feels like losing control. Buddhist wisdom teaches that this endless, relentless doing is often a form of running away. We cling to constant motion because stillness forces us to finally meet ourselves. One of the deepest lessons of Buddhism is the practice of non-attachment, not just to material things, but to outcomes and future goals. When we turn our entire life into a checklist, we reduce the sacredness of the present moment into a mere obstacle to be overcome. We attach our peace to an outcome that is always waiting at the end of the day, rather than finding it in the steps we are taking right now. Imagine a traveler who spends his entire journey staring down at a map. He traces the lines with his finger, calculating the distance, checking the coordinates, and crossing off every mile marker he passes. He is incredibly efficient. He arrives exactly on time. But he never once looked up to see the majestic mountains rising around him. He never felt the cold mist of the valleys or noticed the changing colors of the sky. He managed the journey perfectly, but he did not experience it. This is how many of us live. Think about your own day. You rush through your morning coffee just to get to the car. You rush through the drive just to get to work. You rush through your tasks just to get home. And when you finally sit down in the quiet of the evening, your mind is already racing into tomorrow, building a brand new checklist. You are a ghost haunting your own schedule. You manage your family time, you manage your chores, but you are not truly experiencing any of it. Ask yourself, when was the last time you did something without silently wishing it was already finished? What are you so afraid will catch up to you if you finally stop running? Are you living your life, or are you just trying to get it over with? Stop, breathe. The next time you perform a simple task, like washing a single dish or drinking a cup of tea, do not look at your phone. Do not plan the next hour. Just stand there. Feel the warmth of the water. Feel the cup in your hands. Let the simple act be enough. Give yourself permission to just be, because a checklist has no soul. It can tell you what you did, but it can never tell you how you lived. Letting go of the endless need to produce and manage is the only way to invite peace back into your heart. But putting down the list is only the beginning, because a mind that has been taught to constantly rush forward will always fight to pull you away from the present. And this is where the silent cost of our rushing truly reveals itself. 3. The silent cost of a mind always rushing forward. What if the very act of chasing tomorrow is exactly what is stealing today? Here is a truth that is easy to ignore but painful to accept. You cannot find peace in a moment you refuse to live in. We spend our days leaning heavily into the future. Even when we finally sit down to rest, our minds are already running toward the next hour. You sit with your family in the quiet of the evening, but part of you is already dreading the morning alarm. You take a walk to clear your head, but instead of feeling the breeze, you are silently arguing with a coworker in your mind. This constant forward motion creates a dull, heavy anxiety. It makes us feel scattered, stretched too thin, and deeply disconnected from ourselves. We are always preparing to live, but rarely ever living. Buddhist wisdom teaches that the future is a phantom created by the restless mind. When we constantly rush forward, we generate our own suffering, because we are trying to inhabit a space that does not actually exist yet. The present moment is the only place where life happens, where joy can be felt, and where true peace can be found. Buddhism reminds us that when we reject the present in favor of the future, we are rejecting reality itself. We abandon the only ground we can actually stand on. Imagine a man walking through a magnificent garden at twilight, holding a small lantern, but instead of looking at the radiant flowers blooming right beside him, He stares intensely at the very edge of the light, trying desperately to see what lies in the darkness ahead. He walks for miles, anxious, straining his eyes, constantly pushing forward. When he finally reaches the end of the path, his lantern burns out. He looks back in the dark, only to realize he spent his entire journey completely blind to the beauty that was always right at his feet. How often do you walk through your own life staring only at the edge of the light? You nod along while a loved one tells you a story, but inside you are tapping your foot, waiting for them to finish so you can get back to your tasks. You hurry through a meal without tasting it. You rush through a quiet morning. You treat the people and the moments in front of you as obstacles to get past rather than life to be experienced. And in doing so, you pay the ultimate silent cost. You forfeit your own life, moment by fleeting moment. Think about your own life. Where are you rushing to with such desperate speed? What is waiting for you at the end of the day? That is so much more important than the breath you are taking right now. Is this constant forward motion bringing you peace, or is it only feeding your fear of falling behind? Pause, breathe. The next time you feel the urge to rush through a simple moment, stop. Notice the physical space you are in. Feel the weight of your body. Listen to the subtle sounds in the room. Let the future wait. Because peace is not a destination waiting for you at the end of a completed checklist. It is a presence you make space for, right here, in the middle of the mess. But slowing down the mind is only part of the journey. To truly stop rushing, we must learn how to connect with the life standing directly in front of us. And this is where the next truth begins. 4. The Buddhist art of deep listening. What if the greatest gift you could ever give someone is simply the quiet weight of your absolute presence? Here is the truth few people want to face. Hearing is not the same as listening, and waiting to speak is not the same as connecting. We live in an age of constant communication, yet we have never felt more deeply unseen. When someone speaks to us, we are rarely there to catch their words. We listen with half our attention, while the other half works frantically on our next sentence. We prepare a defense. We search for the perfect advice. Or worse, we mentally drift away to our own unfinished tasks. We treat conversations like a hurried game, focused only on returning the ball as quickly as possible. We want to fix the problem. We want to be helpful. But in our rush to manage the interaction, we leave the other person feeling entirely invisible. Buddhist wisdom teaches that true communication begins with emptiness. It is the profound practice of deep listening. In Buddhist thought, you do not listen to reply. You do not listen to judge. You do not listen to solve. You listen simply to hold space. Letting go of the ego's desperate need to control the conversation is one of the highest forms of compassion. When we observe the other person without the heavy filter of our own opinions, we allow them to truly exist in front of us. Imagine a deep, wide lake beneath the night sky. If the water is turbulent, agitated by a restless wind, the light of the moon shatters on the surface into 1,000 unreadable pieces. The lake cannot reflect what is above it because it is too busy moving. But when the wind finally dies down and the water becomes perfectly still, it mirrors the moon flawlessly. To listen deeply is to become that still lake. Think about your daily interactions. A friend calls to share a heavy burden. A partner tells you about a frustrating moment in their day. Instead of being the still lake, your mind is a sudden storm. You immediately offer a solution they did not ask for. You jump in to share a similar story about your own life. You glance at the glowing screen of your phone while they are speaking. You are managing the conversation like a project rather than experiencing it as a human connection. You are physically in the room, but your spirit has already walked out the door. Ask yourself, when someone speaks to you, are you offering them a still lake or a restless storm? Are you giving them a safe place to land or a wall to bounce off of? What are you so afraid will happen if you simply listen without trying to add, fix, or change a single thing? Pause. Breathe. The next time a loved one is talking to you, let your own thoughts fall away. Do not plan your reply. Do not try to relate it back to yourself. Just listen. Let a quiet second of silence pass after they finish speaking before you open your mouth. Observe the space between the words, because to be truly heard is so close to being loved that for most of us, they are completely indistinguishable. But giving this kind of presence requires us to let go of the exhausting need to always know what happens next. And this is where the next truth begins, because releasing the need to control the conversation is only preparing us to release an even heavier weight. 5. Releasing the burden of the next moment. What if the heaviest thing you carry is not the pain of yesterday, but the relentless, crushing weight of what happens next? Here is the truth we rarely admit. We are addicted to anticipation, and it is destroying our peace. We live in a constant state of bracing ourselves. We sit down for a quiet cup of tea, but our shoulders are tense because we are already thinking about the commute. We finally get a day off, but the heavy shadow of Monday morning looms over Sunday afternoon. We enter a conversation, but we are already bracing for how it might end, what might be asked of us, or how we will escape. We have convinced ourselves that if we worry enough, if we plan perfectly, if we mentally rehearse every possible disaster, we can somehow protect ourselves from the unpredictability of life. We believe this mental rehearsal makes us safe, but all this does is drain the color from the present moment. We are exhausted, not from what we are doing, but from what we are anticipating. Buddhist wisdom teaches that this endless anticipation is a profound form of self-inflicted suffering. In Buddhist thought, anxiety is often just the painful gap between right now and what the ego demands of the future. When we carry the burden of the next moment, we are trying to control an illusion. The future does not exist yet. It is only a mental projection. Buddhism reminds us that letting go is not about giving up, and it is not about being irresponsible. It is simply releasing the arrogant belief that you can manage a moment that has not even arrived. Imagine a traveler walking along a beautiful sunlit road, but instead of enjoying the warmth of the sun or the soft dirt beneath his feet, he is hunched over, sweating, carrying heavy wooden planks strapped to his back. He is exhausted, his knees are buckling, and his spirit is crushed. Why? Because miles ahead there might be a river, and he is already carrying the bridge he might need to cross it. He carries the weight of a river he has not even seen. Think about your own life. This is exactly what we do every single day. You carry the heavy planks of tomorrow's difficult work meeting while you are trying to eat dinner. You carry the bridge for a complicated conversation that may never even happen. You carry the burden of expectations, worrying about how someone else will react, what the outcome will be, and how you will handle it. You are exhausting yourself, carrying bridges for rivers that are miles away, completely missing the beautiful road you are walking on right now. Ask yourself, what heavy wooden plank are you carrying on your back today? What future moment are you desperately trying to control from where you are sitting? Is all this worrying actually changing the outcome, or is it only feeding your fear? Pause, breathe, let that sink in. You do not have to cross a river that is not in front of you. Do your part in this exact moment, then release the outcome. Let the future remain unwritten. Drop the heavy planks, because a life that feels truly lived is one where you only carry what belongs to today. But finding this kind of release is not about escaping the loud, demanding chaos of your daily schedule. It is about discovering a profound quiet directly inside of it. And this is where the next truth begins. 6. The still lake in the middle of a moving world. What if true peace is not found by running away from the noise, but by learning how to sit quietly right in the middle of it? Here is a truth we constantly fight against. The world will never stop moving just so you can finally catch your breath. We live under the exhausting illusion that calmness requires perfect conditions. We tell ourselves that we will finally relax when the workday is over, when the inbox is empty, when the house is perfectly clean, or when the weekend finally arrives. We treat our inner peace as a fragile, delicate thing that can only survive in absolute silence. And because daily life is loud, unpredictable, and full of interruptions, we spend most of our time deeply agitated. We react to every sudden email, every shift in plans, and every demanding conversation as if it is an emergency. We allow the frantic pace of the outside world to dictate the rhythm of our own heart. Buddhist wisdom teaches that waiting for the world to calm down so you can find peace is a battle you will always lose. True tranquility is not the absence of chaos, it is the absence of reaction. It is the profound practice of observing the storm without inviting the wind inside. Buddhism reminds us that you cannot control the loud, swirling events happening around you, but you have absolute authority over the quiet space within you. Imagine a deep, ancient mountain lake during a sudden, violent storm. On the surface, the wind howls, the rain lashes down, and the waves chop aggressively against the shore. It looks like total chaos. But if you were to sink just a few feet below that turbulent surface, the water is perfectly, flawlessly still. The deep water does not fight the storm. It does not try to stop the wind. It simply remains rooted in its own quiet depth, while the chaos passes completely overhead. Think about your own life. How often do you live entirely on the turbulent surface? Your phone buzzes with an unexpected message, and your heart rate immediately spikes. A family member speaks to you with a rushed, anxious tone, and you instantly absorb their anxiety, speeding up your own words to match theirs. You are constantly letting the weather of the world disturb your deepest waters. You surrender your emotional control to whoever happens to be standing in front of you. You are surviving the storm by becoming the storm. Ask yourself, how easily do you give your peace away to other people's chaos? Why do you believe that you must always match the frantic energy of the room? What would happen if you simply stayed in the deep water? Pause, breathe. The next time the world around you suddenly speeds up, make the conscious choice to slow down. When someone rushes up to you with an urgent demand, do not immediately react. Let their urgency belong to them. Observe the feeling without letting it pull you out of your depth. Keep your breathing slow. Keep your center still. Let the storm blow across the surface without letting it touch your peace, because you do not need to escape your life to find stillness. You simply need to stop letting the noise dictate your rhythm. But keeping this stillness alive requires a fundamental shift in how we view our daily routines. And this is where the next truth begins. Because the ordinary, repetitive moments you are rushing through are actually the very places where a lived experience is waiting to be found. What if the life you have been desperately waiting for is hidden entirely inside the moments you are trying to rush past? Here is a truth that is easy to miss, yet completely changes how you see the world. There are no ordinary moments, only an ordinary level of attention. We spend so much of our time looking for the big moments to finally feel alive. We wait for the weekend, we wait for the vacation, we wait for the grand achievement or the perfect relationship. We treat everything in between: the morning commute, the folding of laundry, the making of dinner, the short walk down the hall as empty filler. We view the bulk of our daily existence as dead space, a series of tedious tasks to be managed, processed, and survived until the next important thing happens. We check out, we go numb. Buddhist wisdom teaches that the sacred is not found in grand, sweeping escapes from reality, but in the exact center of the mundane. In Buddhist thought, Mindfulness is the realization that washing a bowl is just as profound as sitting in deep silence. If you wash the bowl simply to get it over with, you are pushing life away. But if you feel the warm water, notice the weight of the bowl, and focus entirely on the act itself, the task is no longer a burden. It becomes a lived experience. Imagine a solitary candle burning in a quiet, dark room. If you only pay attention to the candle when it is first lit, and when it finally burns out, you miss the quiet, beautiful light it casts for hours in between. We treat our own days like that candle. We notice the spark of the morning alarm, and we feel the heavy relief of the extinguished night, but we completely ignore the steady, glowing hours in the middle. We let the wax melt away in absolute blindness because our minds are always somewhere else. Think about your own daily routine. You pour your morning coffee, but you are not tasting the warmth, you are staring intently at your glowing screen. You stand in the shower, but you are not feeling the water, you are already fighting a future battle in your head. You drive down the street, completely oblivious to the trees, the changing sky, or the breath in your lungs. You are treating the vast majority of your time on Earth as a waiting room. Ask yourself, how much of your one precious life have you entirely missed because you deemed it too boring to pay attention to? What if the peace you are endlessly searching for is already sitting quietly inside the very chores you are rushing to finish? Pause. Breathe. The next time you are doing something completely ordinary, like turning a doorknob or pouring a glass of water, do not rush. Stop. Feel the cold metal. Listen to the sound of the water. Just for a few short seconds, bring your entire mind down into your hands. Let the ordinary moment become enough. Because a life that feels truly lived is not built from spectacular, unforgettable events. It is built from tiny, ordinary moments held with extraordinary care. But holding these moments requires us to loosen the rigid, exhausting grip we keep on our schedules. And this is where the next truth begins. Because waking up to your own life requires the profound courage to finally put down the illusion of control. 8. The courage to stop controlling and start arriving. What if the tighter you grip the steering wheel of your life, the more violently you crash into your own expectations? Here is the truth we spend our whole lives running from. Control is not a shield against suffering. It is often the very cause of it. We are obsessed with forcing outcomes. We want to know exactly how a relationship will turn out before we open our hearts. We want an absolute guarantee that our hard work will be rewarded exactly the way we pictured it. We try to mold the people around us, frustrated when they do not follow the script we wrote for them. We even try to control our own internal weather, aggressively fighting back sadness, forcing ourselves to be positive, and burying our exhaustion. We believe that if we can just manage every single variable, we will finally be safe. But this relentless need to control leaves us exhausted, rigid, and deeply afraid of the unpredictable nature of being alive. Buddhist wisdom teaches that much of our profound agony comes from resisting the reality of what is. This is the deeply rooted illusion of control. In Buddhist thought, true freedom comes not from dominating the circumstances of your life, but from surrendering to the natural flow of impermanence. When we demand that life go exactly according to our rigid plans, we break ourselves against reality. Acceptance is not about giving up. It is about seeing the moment exactly as it is, without the exhausting demand that it be something else. Imagine a man standing waist-deep in a powerful, fast-moving river. He is terrified of the unknown, so he fiercely grabs hold of a massive, heavy boulder in the middle of the rushing current. The water crashes over him. His arms ache. His muscles tremble with the strain. He is surviving, but he is completely exhausted, essentially drowning in his own desperate effort to stay in one place. What he does not realize is that if he simply let go of the rock, the water would not destroy him. It would carry him gently downstream, toward the quiet, wide expanse of the sea. Think about your own tight grip. How much of your daily exhaustion comes from clinging to the rock? You hold on tightly to a difficult conversation, trying to manipulate the words to get the exact validation you crave. You plan your day down to the minute and become bitterly angry when a simple interruption changes the schedule. You grip the heavy rock of your own expectations so fiercely that you are tearing your own hands apart. You are fighting the natural, unfolding current of your own life, trying to manage a river that was meant to be ridden. Ask yourself, what are you holding onto so tightly that it is breaking you? Is it a timeline you created in your head? Is it an image of who you thought you were supposed to be by now? What are you so afraid will happen if you simply let go and allow life to unfold without your constant management? Pause, breathe. Stop trying to force the door open. Unclench your jaw. Relax your shoulders. The next time you feel the desperate urge to control a situation, take one physical step back. Do not force an answer. Do not force an outcome. Let the moment breathe on its own, because you are not the manager of the universe. You are simply a participant in it. Releasing your grip does not mean you lose your way. It means you finally allow yourself to arrive. But what happens when you finally stop fighting, stop rushing, and put the heavy checklist down forever? And this is where the final truth begins. 9. Awakening to a life truly lived. Think back to where this journey began. Think about the quiet exhaustion of sitting across from someone you love, nodding your head, but being entirely somewhere else. Think about the heavy, hollow feeling of reaching the end of the night, having successfully crossed off every task on your mental checklist, yet feeling as though you did not actually live a single moment of the day. For so long, you have been desperately managing your life. You have been trying to keep the tiny boat afloat, obsessively staring at the map, completely missing the breathtaking beauty of the river. But what if you finally put the map down? We have walked through the deep illusions that keep us constantly running. We have seen how a mind endlessly rushing forward steals the quiet beauty of today. We have learned that deep listening is not about solving a problem or managing a conversation, but offering the profound healing gift of a still lake. We have recognized the crushing, unnecessary weight of carrying bridges for rivers we have not even reached. And we have realized that trying to control the unpredictable world around us only leaves us drowning in our own desperate grip. All of this Buddhist wisdom points toward one single, deeply liberating truth. Your life is not a project to be managed. It is a fragile, unrepeatable experience to be lived. When you finally stop treating your days like a series of obstacles to overcome, a quiet, beautiful space opens up inside you. You no longer need to brace yourself against the uncertainty of tomorrow. You no longer need to mentally rehearse every interaction before it happens. You can simply arrive. You can stand in the middle of a messy, loud, unpredictable world and remain firmly rooted in your own deep water. This is the true essence of non-attachment and inner peace. It is not about walking away from your responsibilities or becoming indifferent to the people you love. It is about engaging with the world entirely without the exhausting demand that it go exactly your way. It is the deep self-respect of allowing yourself to actually feel the warmth of the water, to actually hear the changing tone in a friend's voice, and to actually notice the open sky shifting above your head. You do not have to earn your peace by finishing the checklist. You do not have to prove your worth by how much anxiety you can mentally carry. You are allowed to simply exist. You are allowed to stop running. Every time you choose to pause, you are taking your life back. Every time you listen without planning your reply, you are healing your own fractured attention. Every time you accept the ordinary moment as enough, you are building a sanctuary of trust right where you stand. Ask yourself one final time, what would happen if you simply let go? What if you trusted that the river knows exactly where it is going and all you have to do is sit up and look at the water. Pause, breathe, let the heavy armor fall away. You have spent enough time surviving the storm. It is time to step out into the quiet light and actually live. If these lessons touched your heart, share this video with someone who may be tired of running and needs a little more peace today. You can let go now